Hello, welcome to the Wasting Time podcast. I'm Chris, and I am thrilled to say for the first time in 2026, I am joined by my co-host. Hello, Nick.
You sound surprised that that's happening.
Yeah, yeah. It's obviously you've been preoccupied for understandable
Yes,
reasons.
it's been a big life event over the festive New Year period. So yeah, welcome my second child into the world on the 13th of January. So yes, but I have a lot of time off work now. So actually, this plays into the hands of um, the podcast in a way.
There
So
we go. So hopefully, listeners
so don't be
will
so
find.
surprised.
Yeah, so you'll not be too absent, hopefully. So yeah, it's good. But obviously, yeah, it's been a very exciting time for you. And
Well, yeah, and you did book like three podcasts in January, so like
yeah,
had you
yeah, yeah,
spread them
yeah.
out a little bit more, that there might have been a better chance. But yeah, lots to kick off the year with anyway. Um,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we were talking a little bit before we jumped on this, and I doubt you've had time to listen to a lot of new music, but I'm going to mention a couple of things I've been listening to, which I assume you haven't had the chance. But new Joyce Manor record. Joyce Manor, a band I've never really listened to that much. I've always been aware of them, like the odd song I've enjoyed, but yeah, really loving this new record. Are you a fan of theirs in general?
yeah, I mean, it's probably the same as you, kind of been aware of them, listened to a little bit, but never, they've never been like a staple, so to
Yeah,
speak. So,
yeah.
but this record's raising the bar a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think gives me hot rod circuit vibes, So I think there's a good chance you might like it. Yeah, the album's called
Oh,
I Used
okay.
to Go to This Bar, and I enjoyed the singles and the lead up to it, but the title track I Used to Go to This Bar, I think it's a banging song. I've just been listening to it on repeat before we jumped on this. So yeah, I'd definitely make an effort to get into that. So yeah,
Okay.
really enjoying that record. Produced by Brett
Maybe.
Guritz as well, which is
All
which is
right.
very
Okay.
cool. So
Nice.
unsurprisingly, it's on Epitaph Records. And then the other record that came, I did mention this on my solo intro on the last episode, but Goldfinger put out their new album last week. Have you had a chance to
I
hear
haven't.
any of that?
No. No. I know. I did mean to, but just completely forgot. If I'm honest. So yeah, what's your thoughts?
It's cool. It's cool. It's very much carry
Standard.
on this very
Yeah.
similar to the last two albums they've done, which is very
Okay.
it's there's a couple of songs that are, as I've mentioned last time, co-written with Hoppus and Travis that were
Yeah.
probably intended for the last Blink stuff that Feldman was doing that was kind of abandoned. So that's you can imagine what that sounds like. And then there's couple of ska songs, couple of harder songs. It's kind of like the same formula for a record that he's done the last couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay. Cool. I'll get them both on the list. And I was just going to say as well, Joyce Manor might be a shout to if they got a new release out. Shout to their people, see if they
Yeah, we should
fancy a
we
chat.
yeah, we should book them. That would make a lot of sense, definitely. And the
Okay.
other record I've been spending a lot of time with is relevant to today's episode, which is the new Mariachi El Bronx album, which is going to be out on February the 13th. But their team sent it over to us in prep, so we could obviously listen in the build up to this interview. It's been on repeat, sort of in the background when I've been working, that kind of thing. So I spent a
Right.
lot of time with it. Listeners will hear me say this in the interview. I kind of say to Matt, the singer, that initially I was just like, it's fine. It kind of all sounds the same. Not in that it's a bad record, just that mariachi music is not something I would normally listen to. It's
Uh-huh.
music that I think's cool, but don't really have an opinion on outside of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the more I've listened to it, I've just like got to know the individual songs, and they all kind of stand out individually, and I
Right.
really I
Okay.
really like it.
Did you
So
did you did you speak to him about like the audience for that for his band and well for that part of his
yes, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
project?
Yeah. So I'll not say too
Okay.
much about that now. We
Okay.
do get into that because obviously, it's a very different project to Bronx, and
Bronx, yeah, yeah.
it's interesting to hear how much that audience crosses over.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, Matt really
Well,
gets into that, so I'll not say too much about that now. But yeah, it's cool, and like I really enjoyed talking to him because it's a funny one because I'm not like a huge Bronx fan. Again, like not I think they're a great band, but it's just not really my kind of thing. I have to really kind of do my research and get in the zone when I'm speaking to him, but he's just the kind of guy that makes you feel relaxed straight away. So I enjoyed my one-on-one chat with him because we did speak to them at 2000 Trees a couple of years ago, so it was kind of good to reconnect with him.
nice, cool. I look forward to hearing it. Live music wise, I guess not much is happening at the moment. You got anything lined up, gig wise for the start of the year?
I was tempted to go to All Time Low last week, but I just felt like too much effort to go out to Greenwich on a Saturday night in January. And also like we were trying to line because originally the Paradox were the opener for that, and we were trying to line up a in-person thing with them, but then they dropped out. Taylor Acorn took over, and I like Taylor Acorn. Mayday Parade were on it as well, but yeah,
Was
just
Foyer Strong not on that one and dropped
I don't
off?
know if they dropped out as well because from
They
what I
did,
saw,
yeah.
yeah,
It
so it
was
was
that
just
one they were on, weren't they? Yeah, I think they just said they were a bit frazzled and just
oh,
needed some
interesting.
time off. They put a statement out, but
Okay,
because that was a pretty massive lineup. I mean, it was one that you would go to
totally.
if even if you weren't a fan of Old Time Low, because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
absolutely.
pretty stacked, wasn't it? But so yeah, I don't know why it all kind of fell a bit. Well,
Yeah.
Paradox are big, blowing up, aren't they? Did you know why they dropped out?
No, they didn't say. They didn't say like they're.
Right.
I think just before they announced their management just got back to us and just said, "Oh, we're
Right.
not able to do this one, but let's do it
Okay.
next time." So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, aside from that, not too much that I can think of. I definitely want to get to I definitely want to get to some shows, but yeah, I don't have anything on the horizon. You mentioned you might be going to the Arm's Length Koyo tour.
Yeah, he got Arms Length, Koyo, and Ben Quad, who I like as well.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Like kind of Midwest emo kind of band.
yeah,
Um, it's quite a strong lineup, I thought, especially seeing Koyo ourselves twice back in September. They really, yeah, blew the roof off, didn't they? Very impressive live. So, yeah, be rude not to. So I'm going to try and get along to that. All going well at home with the two children.
yeah. Fingers crossed for you,
Um,
man.
so yeah, I'll try. Yeah, try and maybe get a chat with at least Joey or some of the arm's length guys
That'll
if we
be
can.
awesome.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but if not, I'll just try and be there in person anyway. So yeah, and then we'll see what comes after that.
Nice, nice.
Slam Dunk will be on us before long, won't it?
It's going to roll around very quickly. Yeah, very, very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, big
Obviously,
lineup
yeah,
this year.
yeah, yeah, which we've discussed before. Lots of things we're into. Lots of friends of ours playing. So, yeah, that's going to be great.
Cool. Well, let's hear this episode. I'm very, very eager to hear it.
Yeah. So, as I said before, this is Matt, who's obviously the singer for both the Bronx and Mariachi El Bronx. Mariachi El Bronx have a new record out on February the 13th. You've heard my opinion on it. I think you should go and check it out as soon as it's out. But for now, listen to my chat with him. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Chris. How are you, man?
I'm good. I should say you probably won't remember. We've met one time before. We did like 20 minutes with you guys when you did 2000 Trees, and this is, I guess it's almost 3 years ago now, which is crazy. But yeah,
Nice. Hell yeah.
we did a short interview then, so it's good to catch up with you
Yeah,
again.
absolutely. Good to catch up. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm hoping there's I don't want to any spoilers or anything, but we're working on possibly getting back out to 2000 Trees right now. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
hopefully we'll be getting over to the UK at some point.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, you can only share what you can about that, but we'll talk about the UK a little bit in a bit. I should say also, like, normally I have a co-host, but I'm rolling solo today because he's just had his second kid like last week, so he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I
Awesome. Congrats. Yeah, that's good for him.
Yeah, thanks, man. I did try yesterday. I was like, "Do you think you're going to be able to do the Matt interview tomorrow?" And he's just like, I'd love to, but nah." So
It's
it's just
understandable. It's
myself.
understandable.
Yeah, of course, of course. So where are you talking? Are you West Coast based?
Yeah. I'm in Southern California. I'm in Orange County, which is just south of Los Angeles.
And I guess, obviously historically that's where the Bronx are from. Is that where you were kind of born and raised?
Yeah. I was born in a city called Pico Rivera, and that's just kind of on the outskirts of East LA. Awesome, kind of dangerous, mostly Hispanic neighborhood, but all in all, a great place to grow up.
And obviously, the purpose of us talking today is like primarily to promote. We've got a new Mariachi El Bronx records coming
Hell yeah.
mid-February. The people have been kind enough to send it to me, so I've had it on repeat. So we'll get into the record itself shortly.
Awesome,
But
awesome.
yeah, I guess the obvious question on that's it's been a while since like there's been an official record with under that band umbrella. Why bring it back now?
I mean, it's just, it's so when the band started in 2008, it was kind of just an unexpected, um, uh, just kind of it was very unexpected for us to have all of a sudden have two bands, I'll say that.
Of
So
course,
it just
yeah,
because it just started as an idea, and then it was like the idea, turned into a couple songs, that turned into an album, and that turned into a record deal, and that turned into another album, and then it's like the band just took off. So and the whole time, we were super inspired and super excited to be doing it. So once we kind of established that, like, okay, this is more than just like a record store day, or like a thing that we did once and we might not ever
yeah,
come back to. Once it kind of became its own thing, we realized that we were very fortunate to be able to bounce back and forth between the Bronx and El Bronx, because not that you get burnout, but having that creative option, really, really helps revitalize, the other one, and the creative kind of, the creative tank inside you. You don't have
yeah,
to put everything into one genre or one idea. That once you kind of reach the end of an idea for one band, or a record cycle for one band, that the option is going to be there to jump ship and go to El Bronx or back to Bronx or whatever. So, you know, after the third El Bronx album, we we knew we wanted to get back to Bronx because it was just like a long process making that album. We had toured a bunch, and everyone was kind of, had their had a bunch of different things going on. It's a bigger band, so we just kind of wanted to downsize a little bit and go back to Bronx. And we recorded the fifth and sixth albums, toured, and we knew at some point we were going to come back to El Bronx. But we weren't stressing, we weren't rushing it, because we were having a lot of fun with Bronx, and that's where the mojo was, and that's where the juice and the inspiration was, and we were having a great time. And then,
Yeah.
in 2023, we celebrated 20 years of the Bronx, so that was a very important milestone for us to hit and celebrate, and be able to tour all over the world, and kind of celebrate, that milestone for us. And at the same time, it kind of became the marker of like, okay, cool. Like this is the moment. This is like the end of this era of the Bronx. And once we hit 20 years, we get around, we play all these shows, we're able to celebrate the fact that we're still here. Let's put it up on the shelf for a little bit, and let's switch back to El Bronx, and let's fucking
Yeah.
write an incredible comeback album. So it just felt like, if you were paying attention to the universe or the signs or whatever, it just felt like it was the right time.
Yeah.
So we just made the switch, and started writing the new album, and it came together, fairly quickly, honestly.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually re-listened to the previous interview with you guys, which was around obviously your 20th anniversary, and you did say something in that there was rumblings of new Mariachi El Bronx music coming. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the timeline makes sense. I mean, going back to like the original concept, I assume like you grew up around a lot of mariachi music growing up in sort
Yeah,
of
I mean,
Southern
I mean,
California.
Yeah, I mean, not. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's not like I was listening to it when I was young. I was listening to heavy metal, but
Yeah,
it was around. It's very much neighborhood music. It's cultural music. It's everywhere in Los Angeles. So, I just growing up where I grew up. It was everywhere. It was, coming out of the speakers and the windows and on the weekends and all that stuff. And as we kind of started playing music in the Bronx, and as we got our lockout in Los Angeles, and just the more you kind of get into, hanging out and going out
yeah,
into the clubs and streets, and it all just kind of it permeates everything. It gets under your skin in the best way. So, um, it was just it's one of those things where you're kind of a product of your environment.
so like, were you always into it, or was there like a moment as you got a bit older and you were in a band yourself that you appreciated it more, and that's when you were like, hey, we need to like maybe try and write a couple of songs in this genre?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like when I was younger, I thought it was cool. I didn't understand the scope of it. I didn't know the history or the kind of, the kind of traditions and all that sort of stuff that goes on within it. You just like any other style of music, you just hear it blasting out the speakers and you're like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool." That's good. I like that. I don't like that. This and that. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it wasn't until we kind of, later on in the Bronx when we actively started diving into the rhythms and the genres and subgenres and all that stuff, that it really became something that was, wow, holy shit, this is really cool, and there's a lot
Yeah.
going on here, especially coming from punk rock. It's like there's just, punk rock is just you plug in, you turn your amp up and you start screaming, it's like
Of course.
this is way more layered. There's way more to it. There's a lot of depth in mariachi music, a lot of meaning, a lot of purpose, a lot of tradition. So there was a lot to kind of dive into, which
Yeah.
we were all hungry for at that point in our lives. So it was like the perfect thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because like my experience with it, I guess I was, well, still am a bit like how you said when you were younger. It's just obviously music I'm aware of that sounds cool, but I don't know much about it. And like I was always aware of you guys doing it. Like, I've seen you live at festivals a couple of times in under that umbrella. And but then like ahead of this, I've spent a lot of time with the new record, which, if I'm honest with you, at first I was just like, it's all right. It just kind of sounds cool. But the more I've listened to it, it's just like all the songs are kind of jumping out individually, and
Yeah, yeah, awesome.
it's just kind of cool to like appreciate a type of music that I wouldn't necessarily spend a lot of time with.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But so I guess on that subject, and I need to shout out my friend James Farrelly, who's former co-host on this. Actually, because I know he's a big Bronx fan, and I said, oh, I'm talking to Matt. Any good questions you would want to ask him about mariachi? And he was just like, well, one that springs to mind is like a lot of people listening to this will be aware of the Bronx, aware of El Bronx, but like, are there any like mariachi artists that you'd recommend people to like dive into to try and appreciate the music more?
Yeah, I mean, Vicente Fernandez is probably the GOAT.
Okay.
He's kind of like just the yeah, I mean, rest in peace. He's just the ultimate badass mariachi. If you want to get into the corrido side of things, the famous Chileno Sanchez is another one. Corridos are like these narrative stories, right? And it's like they're almost like modern newspapers, so where people would like they would sing these songs about what's going on in their town and stuff like that, and it would kind of keep
Yeah.
people in the loop. There's legends and heroes and villains and historical events and all this stuff, and then the drug dealers, they had mariachi guys write songs about like their exploits with women and fighting the cops and all this stuff. So that's kind of how I heard about the corridos, was through the narco corridos, and then we kind of tried to write our own here on this album with Bandoleros. But that's a good place to start. Also for me,
Okay.
my kind of my gateway into all this stuff is Los Lobos. they're definitely the band for me. They sing in English, they sing in Spanish, and I grew up with them. And David Hidalgo and Vincent Hidalgo, I've been playing music with those guys for like 30 years. Their dad's the singer in the band, David Hidalgo, and they're just an incredible band. They do all the kind of traditional stuff, but they also do like rock and roll. They do blues, they do Americana. They're just an incredible band. So that might be the best place to start.
Okay, very cool. Thanks for that. Other thing James asked is how often do those suits get washed?
Well, the new ones are luckily still, we don't wash them a lot, but the new ones are still very new, so they're not
Yeah.
they're not too stinky yet.
Well, I saw the most recent video. Obviously, it looked like you were getting that was the introduction to the new suits from the look of it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's we get them made at Casa del Mariachi in Boyle Heights, and
Yep.
it's a very old school shop, a lot of history. They've been doing it for a long, long time, and it's a really cool experience, man. You go in there, you get measured up, and
Yeah.
it's the whole thing. It's become part of our tradition at this point. We always say, with a new album comes a new suit, so we try to you got to earn it, by writing some new music,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and that's where we get it done.
Speaking of earning it with new music, let's talk about the record itself a little bit. So,
Yeah.
at the time of recording, we've got, I think, three songs out. When's the record coming? Let's see. February 13th. I think this will be out early first week of February. So if you're listening to this first week of February, you're in for a treat with the songs that aren't released.
Yeah, yeah.
What are the standouts for you now that you presumably lived with the record for a while and obviously
Uh, it's tough, man. It's when you make a record, when you dive into it, the full experience, by the end of it, you're just like, oh man, I never want to listen to this thing ever again,
of course,
But
of course, yeah, yeah,
luckily that's not the case with this one. But
okay,
you do have a unique relationship with the albums that you create. For me, I really like you know, I'm a human ballad at heart, so I love the slower
hmm
songs. I love Fool's Gold, The Takers, Tie You Down. I really like the last song, Into the Afterlife. It's got this
yeah,
Oingo Boingo vibe to it that I really, really enjoy.
cool lyrics on
Um,
that one.
oh, thank you. Yeah. And then Do Love, Forgive and Forget, love Bandoleros. Yeah, one of my favorite songs on the record is probably All Things. It's a very kind of just super really layered musically, lyrically,
Yeah,
melodically. One of the longest songs we've ever written. There's some long songs on this album. There's like 5, 6 minute songs. For us, that's like, an eternity.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, for a punk
but
rock band, yeah.
yeah, so I'm stoked on all of them, man. But I always love, especially with the mariachi stuff. There's something about singing a ballad to me. It like it really like I feel like it's like the soul of the mariachi, is like singing from the heart about love and loss. And sure, you can do that with, an upbeat song like a norteño song or something like that, but there's something about like just the kind of like sad, lonely guitar and the heartbroken vocal, and it's just like it just feels so good to me, so I love singing the slow songs.
I think Songbird's probably the one for me. That's like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's the one I keep like if I'm just going to listen to one song from the record, that's the one I keep going back to. Yeah, I think
Hell yeah,
great
awesome.
chorus,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, man. I love that song.
With the Bronx fan base, have they generally is it have people been receptive to El Bronx?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's not like I think the key to that is that, hey, look, it's not like we just stopped playing Bronx and it's like we just
Yeah,
became this other band, and we don't want to talk about the Bronx. We'll never play the Bronx again. It's
yeah,
not that at all. It's just, I mean, we're very much a two-headed snake at this point, and it's like we play both bands actively as much as we can. We love both bands. We love playing both bands. And I get it that there's probably some people out there that 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 just want to see the Bronx and go crazy, and that's cool, man. I appreciate that. I get it, and vice versa too.
Sure.
There's a lot of people who come to see El Bronx and they have no fucking clue who the Bronx is. They're not punk rockers at all. They're
That's
not even
cool.
rock and rollers. They're just like they're like world music motherfuckers, you know. They just
Yeah.
like they want to come out and listen to mariachi music and have a good time. So that's what makes it special, you know,
Yeah.
and I love that about it. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand it, man. I mean, I'm just like anyone else. I mean, I have my musical preferences. I have bands that I like and don't like. I have styles I like and don't like. And, to be able to like, you can't live that way. You can't be a human being and then expect that, it's something different for your fans, that
Of
they
course.
might
Yeah.
not like something that you do, so it's all good.
You mentioned that you kind of had shifted into El Bronx mode, after the 20th anniversary and stuff, and then thinking you're going to do this new record. But like, do you ever find with songwriting, like you'll be writing a song and just like, I think I did write this for the Bronx, but it's sounding like it's going to sound better as a mariachi song eventually, or is it very
Yeah.
much you're in the lane to
I,
start with and you stick with that?
Nine times out of ten we're in the lane, but it does happen. Like there's uh there's Bronx songs. There's a couple Bronx songs that lyrically for me I was trying to make El Bronx songs and then they didn't
Okay.
work and then somehow they worked in as Bronx songs
Yeah.
and vice versa. It doesn't happen a lot, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Is there anything
uh,
on the new record that was originally a Bronx idea?
there's parts of Forgive and Forget that I had written for a Bronx song.
Oh,
There
interesting. Okay.
and then there's parts of I'm trying to think if there would be. I think that's it. I think that's it. But the like the a lot of the Forgive and Forget was the first song we wrote for like the kind of the album session and just kind of like
Yeah.
knocking the dust off to see if we could still write a mariachi song. And so I had a bunch of lyrics kind of, written down already that I was going to for that first song because it was like I just had a bunch of stuff that I was wanted to look through. And so I had those verses. I had those verses of just like the kind of like psychedelic despair verses that were almost kind of like they're almost similar to like the verses in White Shadow for the Bronx. It might have come from the same session, but yeah, it happens. I'm very
Yeah.
much I go. I mean, every song is different, of course. You got to preface it with that, but for the most part, a lot of my writing technique is line by line, man, or just verse to verse, and then chorus to chorus. It's like sometimes it's not all a complete connected thought. Sometimes, lines can come from way back when, they could come from, something that you did years ago, months ago.
Yeah.
And then, all that stuff. So, especially when you're starting an album, it's always fun to go through all the stuff that you've written over the past, 10 years or whatever,
Hmm.
and lines that you've highlighted or ideas you might be, stoked on and see if they'll respond well to that song, see if they'll fit
Of
that
course.
music.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you're playing Tijuana, I guess the day after the record comes out. That should be a fun
It's
time.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the Bronx in general, like, have you got a big following in Mexico as it is? And then I guess, like, how does that translate with El Bronx?
I mean, El Bronx has never, well, I shouldn't say that. Bronx played Mexico City at
Okay.
Slipknot Festival.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's it. El Bronx has never played Mexico.
Really?
Well, not I can't say that. Well, not real Mexico. Like
Okay.
El Bronx played like a Cabo, like My Morning
Right.
Jacket festival, like all
Right.
inclusive hard
Yeah.
rock
Yeah.
hotel type
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
not the real
Yeah.
deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're
So
saying.
this is very much I mean, we're going for it. I mean, it's like
Nice.
you can't be you can't say you're part of the culture and not be part of the culture, you know. So
There
it's
we
like
go. Yeah, yeah.
we wanted to really to get down there and do it our way and have a good record release party. And I used to go to Tijuana all the time, and we're excited to get back there.
Nervous at all? Like to be in front of a Mexican crowd properly for the first time, or
No,
just excited?
no. I mean, it's like, look, it's all the kind of same thing, you know. It's like as I, you know, with the Bronx. You know, we've played in front of a lot of like we've opened up for a lot of different bands, okay?
Sure.
And it's like they don't all like you, you know? It's like so
Right,
it's like
right.
I've been in that position plenty of times. I mean, it's like the fact that it's in Mexico is awesome, but
Yeah.
it doesn't throw me off really anything more than it normally would. I'm excited, man. I can't wait.
And then shortly after that, we got the Australia trip.
Yep.
And the Australia trip is doing both bands in the same set, right?
Yeah, so first time ever we're doing
Yeah.
we tried doing this thing during COVID. We did this live stream where we kind of it was called the Halloween Dead stream where we did both bands. We kind of went from, you know, three Bronx songs into three L Bronx songs and then did like a kind of thing towards the end where we had a couple songs that everyone was playing something on. And it was really cool and it was a lot of fun, but it was something that we carefully put together. And because of it was filmed, you know, we were able to edit it and do all this stuff. So we knew eventually that we wanted to get to a spot where we were doing both bands live in one set. You know, and now we're finally here, and it's pretty cool because you know festivals are excited about it, and you know they're calling us up to see if we can, you know, bring it overseas and all that stuff like that. So it's something that we think is super unique and super cool. And it's the our focus is, you know, one of our focuses with that is to not to not ruin what makes each band special. You know, it's like
Okay.
we don't want to dumb down the Bronx. If people love the Bronx and they want to see the Bronx, they're going to see the Bronx. It's like it's not going to be a version of the Bronx that is watered down or weird or
Yeah.
different or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like the Bronx is going to be the Bronx, El Bronx is going to be El Bronx, but we're finding these really cool creative ways to transition from one band to the other,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like to do it's really exciting, man. It's cool. It's been something that that has been a lot of fun to put together, and Australia is going to be sick. They've always been good to us, so we're
Yeah.
excited to try it down under for the first time, and then hopefully we'll be doing it you know, in the UK and Europe and in the US.
So sorry, are you like interlocking the songs, like going back and forth with the bands, or is it like Bronx and then
Yeah, yeah,
El
yeah.
Bronx?
So
Okay.
I don't want to give too
Yeah,
much away,
of
but yeah,
course.
it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of going in and out. So it's like you'll have, you know, it's like you go from one band to the other, and there's these kind of musical
Yeah.
transitions where, you know, because there's extra members that come out, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
are we going to change into the suits? Are we not going
Yeah,
to change into the
yeah. I
suits?
mean, this. I don't
Uh,
want to quiz you too much on it and
yeah,
ruin the
yeah, yeah.
surprise, but
But
these are the
it's cool.
questions
It's
going around my
cool.
head. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's exciting, man.
and it's cool, isn't it? Because like that is just going to be obviously, you know, you've got the fan base, so people will be keen to, you know, whether it's the UK or Europe or whatever, for the Bronx to come over. But the added element of both bands together is going to make people extra excited and perhaps maybe even
Yeah.
catch the attention of more casual fans, I guess, as well. So
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, it's something to see for sure, you know. And these days, man, you know, after being a band, as long as we've been a band, and you know, I mean, you're basically just relying on your songs. You're a punk rock band. You got no real crazy bells and whistles. You can't really
yeah,
afford to like come over and do some, you know, show that's going to cost, you know, $40,000 a night or whatever it is. So you just kind of come up. You got to get creative where you can, and for us, that's musically, that's um, you know, that's like that's in the transitions, that's in all the details of that. So putting that together and maintaining like the classic like Bronx like rawness of what we do.
Yeah.
is very key, and it's been really exciting.
If you weren't doing El Bronx and you were doing like another version of the Bronx in a different genre, are there any other genres of music that you think would contend for that with you?
Definitely not reggae.
Fair.
Uh,
Okay.
you know, I don't know. It's like trying to think of anything offhand. I mean, I'm not very good with rapping, although I could probably, if you gave me a good beat and gave me like 3 weeks
Yeah.
to like write like a rap, like a legit hip hop song,
Yeah.
I bet it would be sick. I bet it would be
Nice.
sick. But I don't know what that looks like live. I feel
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
I don't like that for me.
It's funny listening to our last interview with you. We were asking like what artists that you haven't toured with that you would like to
Yeah.
tour with for the in the remaining career. What I noticed one you mentioned was Oasis, and then I see
Ha!
since talking to you, you managed to catch them on their big reunion thing last year, right?
I did, man. It
How was
was
that?
awesome. I went to the Rose Bowl show, night two, and man, it was. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I think it was the greatest show I've ever seen. Just because of the
Wow, that's a
size.
big statement.
Well, man, it's like there's not a lot of massive rock and roll bands anymore that do it really, really well. And it's like I loved how simple it was. I love they sounded so great. The set list was great. And it was like, I mean, the Rose Bowl's huge, dude. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a massive place, and it didn't feel like disconnected. It didn't feel like out of touch. It didn't feel like you were seeing some band that was like bigger than the world, like they actually are. It just felt super connected, and it just felt amazing, man. I was blown away. I thought it was so good, and I totally get why people were going, seeing one show and then all of a sudden going to see, the next, six or 10 or whatever. I had a bunch of friends who, saw them in Toronto, saw them in New York, saw them in LA, and then ended up going to Mexico City, and then,
yeah.
all that stuff. So it was incredible. It was really cool to see. And for me to have like a band come back like that. Very rarely is it like everything you hoped it would be, and more, so it's like
Yeah.
sometimes it happens, very rarely it happens, and they put it together, man. They were fucking great.
Have you ever heard any rumors of either of the Gallagher brothers knowing of your band? Because you're reasonably well known. I think it's
No,
not
I
beyond the
mean,
realms of possibility that you would have come
it's
across their
not beyond
radar.
it's not beyond the realm of possibility, that's for sure. I haven't heard about it, but we do have some connections with Liam, just
Really?
because our good friend Drew McConnell plays in he played with him when he was doing his solo stuff. He played
Okay.
in Baby Shambles, and
Oh,
he
really?
played with
Okay.
yeah. He's an honorary member of El Bronx. He was playing with us for a little while when we needed a touring bass player in the UK.
Oh, very cool.
We had a member kind of go down, and Drew stepped in and played with us, and he's been an ally ever since. And yeah, he's just an incredible musician. I mean, he's played with so many different amazing people. But yeah, I know he's played with Liam quite a few times. I think he did the Nebworth show with Liam before
Wow.
Oasis got back together.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's so there's a lane. There's a lane,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I wonder what they'd make of you. Be interesting to know, wouldn't
I would pay to hear what he thinks of El Bronx.
What about, I mean, the UK itself, obviously you've been over here so many times. Any particular favorite spots in terms of like cities, venues, like where are you excited to get to when you get to the UK?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll be honest. I love it all, and the more that it's like, what do they say, distance makes the heart grow fonder. It's
Hmm.
like over the last couple years just because of the way the world is changing, and the way the music industry is changing and all that stuff. We haven't been able to tour as relentlessly as we have in the past, and a lot of
Yeah.
that, is just because things change and stuff like that. But I'm so grateful for all the times we've been able to come over to the UK. And I was just thinking about I love Leeds. We always had a good time in Leeds. All the old
Hmm.
cockpit shows were so good.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, love London, of course. I'm stoked we got to play the Astoria and 100 Club and all these amazing spots. Underworld, of course, and all that
Hmm.
stuff. All the old barflies. Manchester, of course, another one. We're lucky, man. It's just that there's so many, and then another special spot. I can't not mention Huddersfield, of course. That's a special spot for the Bronx. Shout out to Mikey and the parish for having us way back when. Some great record stores in Huddersfield too.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's the whole damn place, man. I mean, we love it. I can't wait to come back.
Nice. And you mentioned potentially 2000 trees again soon.
Potentially 2000 trees, we're having our people talk to their people
Hmm.
and seeing what we can work out. But it's been really cool watching that festival become as big as it's gotten. We played
Sure.
early on there, and it's just a great little festival. And then I mean, of course, it been fortunate enough to play a ton of Reading and Leeds Fest, downloads, and Glastonbury, and
Yeah.
pretty much everything in between. So got a lot of love for the UK, man. Can't wait to come back.
What newer bands are in your ear at the minute? Last time we talked, this was something we asked you as well, and you said at the time, you said Drug Church and Military Gun. Two bands we've seen a bunch since. We've had Drug Church on the show actually. Two
Nice.
very cool bands. So those were good shouts. Yeah. So who are you listening to these days?
Yeah. That Australian band Stiff Richards is really good. I've been listening to them. Trying to think what else new that I've been listening to. Um, hmm, Nothing too. I'm trying to think of anything specific new. I've been listening to since we're going to Australia. I've just been listening to a ton of Australian music.
Sure.
There's no shortage of great Australian music. I've actually been listening to a lot of Rose Tattoo recently, which is just, life affirming. If people don't know who Rose Tattoo is, just go check them out. They're just one of the greatest old school rock and roll bands.
Okay.
Trying to think.
I'm ashamed
Let
to
me
say I'm not over familiar, so I'll have to do that
Oh, dude,
myself.
yeah, yeah. They got, Guns N' Roses covered their song "Nice Boys Don't Play Rock and Roll." They got the song "Scarred for Life." They got just a bunch of incredible tunes. Let's see if I go through my dreaded Spotify here. Unfortunately, it's for the most part, it's pretty old artists right now.
Okay. What
Let's
what's
see.
what are some of the? I mean, feel free to list those as well. It's interesting to hear what you've been listening to in general, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'm always listening to Bad Religion. I'm always listening
Nice.
to the Rolling Stones. I'm always listening to bands like, you know, Rollins Band is one that it's been on the mind lately. I checked out that old Dirty Money album, that hardcore band. I actually been listening recently to that West End Girl Lily Allen record.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Full
yeah.
circle. Full circle. My friend that I mentioned at the top, he was he was working on that record. So yeah, he was very involved in that. So I mean, that's an interesting record for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and that band, there's this shoegaze band called They Are Going to where they are gutting a body of water. Horrible name. Um,
Interesting name.
yeah, they are gutting a bottle of water. I think they call it like Tagbo or something like that. There's like a shorter version of it. But they put out a record called Lotto, Lotto, and it's really really good. It's out on ATO, and it's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
if you go to NTS Radio, I think they just did like a live session from like live from like a junkyard, and it's just visually it looks really cool. Musically, it's really cool. But yeah, that band is awesome. That's like a new record that I just it came out in October of last year, but it's really good. It's
Okay.
called yeah, Lotto, and the band is They Are Gutting a Body of Water. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Um, are you still involved with the Sailor Jerry podcast? It looked like it's been a little while
Uh,
since there's been an episode of that. Like,
Yeah, not at the moment. It's luckily
okay,
for me, it's one of those things with the podcast where we're keeping it open ended. So there's a very good chance at some point it'll come back. But I took a break just because we were starting to write and record the Mariachi album, and I just wanted to focus on that. The podcast, as you know, it's a lot of work, man. I mean, for me,
for
it
sure.
was. It was like, I did it all from finding the guests to doing the interviews to recording the interviews to editing the interviews to,
Yeah,
uploading it to the different platforms and creating content, creating video content, audio content. It's just like, it's a lot. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I
yeah,
definitely would love to do it again. But like, I got to focus on music right now and then hopefully be
understandable.
able to carve out some time for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it does, obviously it does take a lot of time. Do you enjoy that though, like interviewing people? And it's like
I
obviously you're doing
did. I
you,
I did, man. I
yeah,
really do. It's like I like talking about, the creative process and things like that with other artists or musicians or just people in general. It's like
yeah,
I really did enjoy those conversations and kind of like just just like the like the whole process of like creating a show and like I'm gonna do these little intros and then have like this kind of I really enjoyed putting it all together. It was a really
yeah,
really cool fun process, and then trying to come up with little things that you can like ask people, or it
yeah.
just like I don't know, the whole process of interviewing people was really appealing to me. I really enjoyed it.
Are there any guests that stand out that were particular favorites of yours?
Yeah, I mean there was a bunch, man. I mean I really enjoyed talking to Kat Von D was a trip. She was fucking cool. Let's see. Talking early on, I had Keith from Every Time I Die on, and he's a good friend, and it was like right before the band broke up, so that was a
Hmm.
really cool conversation. Maddie Matheson was great. Chelsea Wolfe was awesome. Brian Fallon was great. Jay Weinberg was awesome. Just a bunch of different people, man. I had a bunch of different tattoo artists that were really cool as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Fucking Paul Dobelman, his whole process and how he approaches like traditional tattooing and all that stuff was really cool. Just a lot, too many to mention, honestly. I
yeah.
really liked them all. And it's funny because I still get, I'll get like the weekly downloads or whatever,
Of
you get
course.
like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like you still
yeah.
see people listening to it,
That's
and
cool.
it's really cool. It's really cool to see, there's just there's a bunch of great ones on there, and some of the ones that like just because it was for Sailor Jerry, some of the ones where I was interviewing like tattoo artists or like people I didn't really know personally, like, and then it was like just something where it was like a cool fit for the podcast or for Sailor Jerry, and then I interviewed them and just got like became like either friends with them or just like a whole new kind of
Yeah,
level of respect of how they go about their business and their art,
yeah,
so it was
yeah.
really cool, super inspiring.
That's really cool. If you bring it back at any point, are there any like is there anyone on your wish list who'd love to interview in this kind of format?
The more I get into it, like the more I really love talking to different singers, man, so I'd
Yeah,
love to talk to like Greg Graffin. I'd love to talk to just anyone like Milo Ackerman would be cool. People outside of my sphere too would be nice. You know, some pop stars or something like that. I really
Nice.
enjoy people who have like figuring out, especially for me as a singer, other people's vocal process and like how they approach singing live or singing in the studio, how they approach if they write their own lyrics, how they approach lyric writing. If they
Yeah.
don't write their own lyrics, how they feel about singing other people's lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like that whole the details of that whole of the whole kind of art form are really interesting to me. The older I've gotten and the more that I've been a singer in a band, the more I appreciate the art form of being a singer, being a front person. And there's so many great people out there that do it, you know. So talking to them about it would be one thing that I would really maybe love to zoom in on and maybe do like a series of just like just singers and vocalists and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, definitely be an audience for that for sure. It's funny you mentioned Milo. We did we had Bill Stevenson just before Christmas, who was an
Nice.
absolute joy actually. Yeah, he was very sweet. Yeah, Matt, I think we can probably wrap this up in a second. Like, really appreciate your time. Good to talk to you again. I thought it might be fun to finish this by kind of ripping off what you were doing on your podcast with the either or thing. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I say ripping you off. We used to do this years ago, and we haven't done it for a while now. I know that that's something you used to do, so I thought it might be fun for us to bring that back and just get your preferences on some random things that I've got
Yeah, hell
here that I
yeah,
could
let's
fire
do
at
it.
you. Should we do it? Okay. Right. So yeah, apologies in advance. They are quite random, not really connected, but let's go for it. So we have Mexican food or Indian food,
Oh, Mexican food.
Bruce Springsteen or Tom Petty,
Tom Petty.
London or LA,
Oh, I gotta go LA.
Black Flag.
There's no baseball in London.
That's true. We do lack baseball. Black Flag or Misfits,
Oh, that's a tough one. I gotta go with what I listen to more, and it's Misfits.
Converse or Vans,
Bands.
Blink 182 or Green Day.
Again, that's a tough one. Neither really are my favorites, but I do respect them both tremendously. And honestly, I will say that when I was younger, Cheshire Cat was a big album for me, as well as Kerplunk
Nice.
and Dookie. So it's pretty hard. But I'm gonna say Green Day, just because there is still an odd moment in time where I might listen to Green Day. And as much as I love and respect Blink 182, I don't think I've listened to Blink 182 in a very, very long time.
Fair, fair. That's a good, honest, diplomatic answer. I like it. American football or soccer,
I love them both, but American football.
Seinfeld or Friends.
Ugh, neither, honestly. I just those are two shows. Well, I'll say Friends just for our guitar player Ken Horn. He loves Friends.
Oh
We
yes,
went
yeah.
we went
We met him last
Yeah,
time, by the way. Yeah, but so
yeah, we did. We got to do like the Jay Leno show and one of those shows that was on like the
oh yeah.
the NBC lot, and so we got to go to Central Perk and like take photos of where they shot Friends, and Ken was losing his mind. It was so funny. But I'm not really. I mean, I do love television. I was raised on television. I love sitcoms, but I've never really been a Seinfeld guy, and I was never really a Friends guy either.
Okay, fair enough. Only a few more here. Oasis or Blur?
Oh, Oasis. Come
Yeah,
on.
had a
Easy,
feeling it
easy
might lean
money.
that way for you. Descendants or Social Distortion?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go Descendants just because they've had more of an impact on me.
Fair enough. Sam Cooke or Marvin Gaye?
Sam Cooke.
Nice, nice. The correct answer. And finally, the Bronx or Mariachi El Bronx, which I've predictably
Oof,
put at the end.
that's a very, very tough one. I'm gonna say the Bronx just because I think without the Bronx you don't have El Bronx. So I think you got to go from the source. But to be honest, you know, there's a big part of my life that was empty until El Bronx came around. There was a big hole in my creative, my cold, calloused creative heart. You know, so I'll give it to Bronx, but I'm gonna say it's 51-49. You know, it's very close.
Fair. Nice, nice. Okay, with that, I think we can wrap this up. Matt, thanks so much for giving me some of your time. Yeah, like I say, I've been really getting into the new records. So yeah, it's
Right
been a
on,
pleasure
man.
to
Thank you. Yeah, great to
discuss
catch
that.
up again, and
Yeah, for sure.
appreciate you taking the time, man.
Nice, and hopefully we'll cross paths again when you're over this way.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right. Take care, Chris.